So now we've talked about adding reagents, we've talked about removing reagents, removing products, adding products, shifts in volume, and now we're going to talk about changing the temperature. So here, Le Chatelier's principle, it's a little bit more fuzzy, but it still basically works. So if you talk about raising the temperature of a mixture at equilibrium, then Le Chatelier's principle would suggest that the system is going to respond in such a way to minimize that stress. So if you're adding heat, the system wants to respond in a way to absorb some of the heat, to counterbalance that change to the system. So let's take a look at this. So let's think about raising the temperature of an exothermic reaction. So what's going to happen here? Raising the temperature of an exothermic reaction favors the formation of reactants, which shift toward reactants. Well, why would this be true? Well, you can think about this very simplistically, that in an exothermic reaction, you're going to be producing heat in the forward direction and absorbing heat in the reverse direction. So if it's an exothermic reaction, that means it's exothermic in the forward direction, which would mean it was endothermic in the reverse direction. So if you raise the temperature of an exothermic reaction, you're adding heat. System wants to respond in such a way to absorb that heat. So it would shift toward the endothermic direction of the reaction, which is the reverse direction toward reactants. So add heat, system wants to shift to absorb some of that heat. So in this part, you think about the direction of the reaction, whether it's exothermic or endothermic, and then think about compensating for that stress. Endothermic reaction, again, they say it's an endothermic reaction. It means it's endothermic in the forward direction. So heat is being absorbed in the forward direction. Again, this is just sort of a very simplistic way to think about it. So if you raise the temperature then, you want to absorb that heat according to Le Chatelier's principle. And so that would favor a shift toward products. So let's look some more at this. The predictive tool here is delta H. So delta H, whether the reaction is exothermic or endothermic, is going to be a predictive tool in thinking about the direction of change when heat is added to a system or heat is removed from a system.